truck can't park there though.
Why?
If you put it in a parking spot,
Why
it's
is-
a fire lane.
Why is that?
It's a fire lane?
It's not a fire lane.
It is a fire lane.
But there's nothing marking it as a fire lane. Can we get legal out here?
We asked you to move the truck once. We're asking you a second time. It is a security risk. The truck needs to be moved.
I thought it was a fire lane.
That is yet to be determined.
Last time I was here, Sergeant, you had a taco truck
I got you.
parked right here.
Do you know the status of the internal affairs complaint I made against Sergeant Bryan Fahey?
99% done. We just have to wait for this other entity.
Do you mind explaining what that other entity is? Is it a government entity?
I don't know.
I took the billboard, the LED billboard truck that's behind you.
Yep.
Hey, what's up guys? Long Island Audit here, back again with another video. Right behind me is the Connecticut State Police Internal Affairs Division. We are here today to file a formal complaint against Sergeant Corman. He is the trooper that violated our First Amendment rights when we were protesting with the LED billboard truck in front of the Connecticut State Police headquarters, protesting Sergeant Bryan Fahey. We are also here to follow up on the second internal affairs investigation into Sergeant Bryan Fahey. We all know what happened in the first one. It was a huge cover-up. The second one, it's been a year now since I've submitted the complaint, and they're still investigating a 5-minute incident. So we're here to file a complaint, follow up on a complaint, and we also brought with us the LED billboard truck just to make a statement, and that way everybody in Connecticut, internal affairs, residents, state police, they all know what a savage Sergeant Bryan Fahey is. Professional standards, which Sergeant Bryan Fahey has none of.
Hello.
Hey, how are you, sir?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
How may we help you today?
I'm looking to follow I'm looking to file a internal affairs complaint and to check in on my previous internal affairs complaint. I believe I spoke to you before, sir, on one of my follow-ups on the internal affairs complaint I submitted almost a year ago against Sergeant Bryan Fahey.
Sure.
And I also have another complaint I would like to make.
Sure. We'll get the form out for you, and we'll do it the same way as we did last time. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
That's
Thank
great.
You. If you
Thank
just
you.
give us a moment.
Sure, no problem. Take your time. Yep.
Do you want to do it together? Do you want to fill it out yourself?
I mean, I know you're not going to allow me inside with my camera, so you can come outside and you can write down what I'm telling you. Yeah.
You want us to write it? Or
Yeah, just like last time.
Okay.
Just like last time. Yep.
All right.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
It's warm out
Good.
here.
Yeah, it's a little toasty out here. A little humid too.
All right. You want to make a complaint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
We're right over here. All right. So what's the complaint? Just give me a real brief. Then
Right. Sure.
Figure it out.
It's very brief.
Okay.
I took the billboard, the LED billboard truck that's behind you,
Yep.
to peacefully protest on public property in front of the Connecticut State Police headquarters.
Okay.
Obviously, you know the circumstances of Sergeant Bryan Fahey and the two separate incidents.
Yeah.
So I went there to peacefully protest that, and a Sergeant Corman, badge number is 101, came out. He said, "You're in a fire lane. You need to move your vehicle. No
Okay.
problem with you recording. You have to move your truck because you're in a fire lane." I pointed out to him that it wasn't a fire lane. There was no signs or red mark or anything indicating it was a fire lane.
Okay.
He went back inside to go get the fire marshal to explain it to me how something that's not a fire lane is a fire lane. Just for context, that same area I was in, there's taco trucks that pull up there all the time during lunch to engage in commercial activities, and they've never had a problem with it. Never mentioned it was a fire lane. I was there one of the times. So he goes back inside, he comes back out without the fire marshal, and he says, "It's a security threat." And I said, "Well, I thought you said I was in a fire lane." And he's like, "Well, it's a security threat." So he comes back out, "It's a security threat." I ask him, "How is it a security threat? You know, they know who I am, I'm sure at this point." He came out, "Mr. Reyes, you know, I have no problem with you recording." So he knew who I was. He knows my intentions are not to hurt anybody. It's to gather my information and to peacefully protest. So he says a security threat. He refused to elaborate on what a security threat it was, just to have a billboard truck outside of headquarters. And then he told me that if I do not move the billboard truck away from the property, public property, that he would impound my billboard truck. So that's the damage. And because he threatened to do that, to impound my billboard truck, I moved it, but I feel as though my rights were violated. I contacted my attorney. I'm going to be handling it through the legal system as well, through a federal lawsuit. But I wanted to come here and submit a formal complaint with Internal Affairs so you guys can look into it. I believe my First Amendment right to protest of speech was violated. It's not content neutral. They have taco trucks there, but the minute a free speech truck that has videos of him doing that goes there, they want to violate my rights and threaten to impound my vehicle. So that's basically the complaint in a nutshell.
What time do you think that happened?
That was around 12:30, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Yep.
And you called it a billboard truck?
LED billboard truck.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just want to make sure I put it down right.
Right. Yep. LED billboard truck.
You parked it in front of HQ in the
Right
driveway?
where he assaulted me the first time. If you look at the video,
Is that where the front door
right
is
in the
that you
front.
walk?
That's right normally where the taco truck
Okay.
is parked.
Why did you park it there?
I've
Why
just
did
seen
you initially park it right there?
for a protest.
For a protest?
Right. And I've seen commercial vehicles, food trucks there. So I figured anybody can park there. Doesn't say no parking. There aren't any no parking signs. Fire zone signs, nothing of that sort.
All right, so you're parked there out front, and you said who came out?
Sergeant Corman, badge number 101.
All right, so he comes out, tells you to move because you parked in the fire lane, correct?
That's correct.
And then what happened?
I told him it wasn't a fire lane, that there was no signs indicating it was a fire lane, no markings on the pavement that there's no indication, to sum it up, no indication that it is a fire lane whatsoever. And he said he was going to go get the fire marshal.
So when he goes inside the building, when he came back out, was anybody with him?
Just legal, somebody from legal.
Somebody from legal, no fire marshal?
No fire marshal, no. He told me that I had to move the vehicle or he was going to impound it because it was a security threat.
All right, so he said he was gonna impound it, so you moved it?
So I moved it.
Where'd you move it to?
I moved it to across the street on the other side of the street in front of the Connecticut State Police headquarters.
Then what happened?
That was it.
That was it? How long did you stay?
Just want to know, he never once asked to like search the vehicle or, which
Okay.
I say that to, display the notion that there's some sort of security threat or anything. He never
Okay.
said, oh, let me check the inside, make sure you have nothing in there. He just blanket security threat, officer safety, and, it's an LED billboard truck. It's
Yeah.
pretty clear what it is. So he just
Okay.
said, and then I didn't want my vehicle, it's my vehicle, I didn't want my vehicle impounded and taken away from me by a government agent, so
Yeah.
I moved it. And that's why I'm here.
Okay.
I believe my First Amendment right was violated.
So that's really the complaint is you believe your First Amendment rights are violated?
Right.
Okay.
Because he threatened an action that if I didn't, like if you threaten arrest, he threatened an action that would harm me if I didn't comply, which violated my First Amendment right.
I'll just read real quick what I have, because you'll have to
Right.
basically swear to it, sign it.
Right,
all that.
right.
On 5/23/24 at 12:30 to 1 o'clock, I parked my LED billboard truck in front of the Connecticut State Police headquarters in the driveway in front of the doors. I just tried to explain exactly where it was. I parked the truck there for a protest. I have seen other commercial trucks parked there before, so I thought I could as well. Sergeant Gorman 101 came out and asked me to move my truck because I was parked in a fire lane. I told him that there was no indication that it was a fire lane. Sergeant Gorman then said he was going to get the fire marshal inside the building, and when Sergeant Gorman came back out, there was no fire marshal with him. Sergeant Gorman told me that I had to move the vehicle because it was a security threat, and if I didn't, he was going to impound it. So I moved it across the street from HQ headquarters. I believe my First Amendment rights were violated, so I want to make this complaint against Sergeant Gorman. Is that correct?
That's correct. I would just want to add that there was no basis for the security threat, and there was no effort by Sergeant Corman to dispel that threat, i.e. asking to search the vehicle or something like that. He never gave me a specific security threat that it posed. And if you could just add that I was protesting the actions of Bryan Fahey, just so we have context of why I was there protesting.
Okay. All right. So I just added that.
Yep.
There was no basis for security threat, and Sergeant Gorman never asked to search a vehicle to dispel any fears. I was protesting the actions of Sergeant Fahey.
Perfect.
Is that correct?
Yep. Thank you.
All right. So, if you don't mind, do you swear that this is true to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna have you sign here. 5, 23, 24. The incident was an incident videotaped. I'm sure.
Yes.
You were. Okay.
Right.
All right. Give me a minute or two. I'll have a copy for you.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I'm sorry, what was your names again? I know I've seen you a couple times now, but
Sergeant Malik.
Sergeant Malik?
Sergeant McGavin.
Sergeant McGavin. Thank you.
Right out.
Yep, thank you.
Always check, make sure I have my keys or I'm locked up.
You'd have to commit a B&E, huh?
Yeah, there you go. So,
Thank you for the copy. And just, I wanted to follow up, as always. Do you know the status of the internal affairs report, the complaint I made against Sergeant Bryan Fahey for the second incident, not the first incident where he was found, of no wrongdoing?
it's actually still under investigation. Something's gotten
Really?
held up. That's not on our end. It's on a different end. So as soon as that's done, Lieutenant Benoit will be in touch with you.
Lieutenant Benoit?
Yeah, Benoit.
Benoit.
B-E-N-O-I-T.
Okay. So it's still in the investigation phase. It's been almost a
But
year.
It's not held up on our end. It's held up somewhere.
Okay, so the professional standards part of it has been completed.
Is 99% done. We just have to wait for this other entity so we can.
Do you mind explaining what that other entity is? You're not allowed to tell me. Is it a government entity?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the specifics about the.
Because when you say entity, it's kind of like ambiguous. It's like, is it what's an entity? Is it the mob? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it a government? Is it your boss or?
Well, it's part of the state. But
Part of the state.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's,
All right.
again, it's
I
out
could
of
do
this
some,
building's hand. We're waiting to get it back from them, and
then
Yeah.
you can send me a copy once it's ready. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. You have my emails and everything, so if you could just send me that copy as soon as you have it of the.
You gave it to
The narrative, everything.
Actually, you gave it on the.
Yep, I just gave it on this one
Yep.
too, but
So we have
you have all my contact information.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll
All right.
definitely contact you soon.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for
you.
your professionalism.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, fellow patriots. So we just wrapped up with professional standards, aka internal affairs for the Connecticut State Police Department. We filed our complaint for our billboard protest in front of the Connecticut State Police headquarters, where our First Amendment rights were violated. But more interestingly, the Sergeant Bryan Fahey complaint, the second one, not the first one where they covered it up, the second one where he assaulted me and deprived me of my property, is 99% finished. A 5-minute interaction, less than 5-minute interaction, a year later is 99% finished. So I'm eagerly excited to read that report. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel so you don't miss it. Seems very odd to me that they were speaking of this entity, this state entity that has to do something before they can release the internal affairs report. Seems kind of weird to me. I don't really understand what's going on. Maybe we'll file some FOIA requests with the Connecticut State Police to get to the bottom of it. If you have any tips, always you can email me at longislandaudit@gmail.com. I got a lot of emails about Sergeant Bryan Fahey answering we the people when we were petitioning our grievances to him, to his email, answering people, telling them he's going to be promoted. So this kind of behavior behind me is acceptable by the Connecticut State Police Department. Departments across the country that I've spoken to have seen this video and they were disgusted. They read the internal affairs report and they were disgusted. I thought his cell phone was a firearm. I grabbed his shirt to make sure he didn't fall backwards. Imagine a federal jury hearing all those facts in a federal lawsuit, which he will be served with very soon for both incidents. And I will be filing a federal lawsuit for my rights being violated at the Billboard truck protest. This is just one step in the process, filing an official professional standards complaint, even though we all know it's not good for anything. We've investigated ourselves and find no wrongdoing. That's what happens all the time. They did it the first time. If they would have held him accountable the first time he assaulted me, he wouldn't have been able to assault me the second time and deprive me of my property. So let's see what they do this time. according to him, he's getting promoted. So we'll see exactly what's going on, but we're going to keep reporting. We're going to keep covering the story. We're going to keep on striving for accountability and transparency in our government, especially here in Connecticut. So stay tuned to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, stay safe. God bless. I'll see you in the next video. Long Island Audit. Peace.